is a very different industry. We are in the IT sector. And for us, I think when COVID happened, everything changed literally overnight. I mean, we have, we have about 4,000 people at that time as part of the organization, and a lot of them rendering critical services to clients across the country. And one fine day, we had to switch completely to work from home. And that in itself was a task, but being an IT organization was not an impossible task. But what happened in the process is that in the longer term, it forced us to think about what kind of an organization, what kind of options do we provide our people. So our definition of workplace has changed from what it used to be traditionally to a new definition of workplace. What it's also done as a result is that it's given employees a choice that they didn't have earlier. We too have, now we've kind of gone down the path of saying that there will be certain roles, certain functions that will necessarily have to work from the office because of the nature of the work that they do. Then there are those that are clearly ones that can work comfortably out from home. And then there are those roles which typically will require a little bit of a hybrid. And where it is hybrid, the employee will decide and choose when they would want to come into the office and when they would want to work from home. But what it's also done, therefore, is made us think about making all the products, services, the technologies, the systems available in a very different form than it used to be earlier. And that, again, comes with a lot of, it requires a lot of thought in a world which is so vulnerable at this point in time. Security postures, making connectivity seamless without impacting the day-to-day work. I think that's something that it's forced us to think about. But equally importantly, it's also forced our leadership team and our managers to think about how you evaluate people when they're not really, we've been used to a world where people have associated performance to being in office, to being seen rather than on the outcomes that they deliver. And I think we have shifted away to a world where now outcomes are really the most important things. And that again requires not just the technology and the ability to measure those outcomes, but also to have a mindset change where people, particularly the older leadership, and I include myself in that category, it took a little bit of effort for us to come to terms with the fact that people can be productive, people can deliver on what is required, and you can measure, you can do this without necessarily having to bring them in. So I think it's just forced us to think about all of these things that we sort of didn't have to think about earlier. I think it's inevitable now that that's going to be the way, at least in our industry, because it's also made it impossible for us to go out and hire if we didn't have this flexibility. People are expecting those sorts of options when you hire. I've had people, even in retaining talent, now we are struggling to bring people back into the office, even if we want them to, because they're saying, I have options outside. So I think these are some of the challenges that we've seen. It's still evolving. I don't know whether there's one view, one answer to this. It will vary from industry to industry. But in our industry, this is what we are seeing.